Mission 100, Day 73. Readings from the Holy Bible, the Old Testament, the Book of Job, chapters 11 through 22, the Book of Sirach, chapters 3 and 4, and St. Paul's first letter to the Corinthians, chapters 13 and 14. Job chapter 11. Zophar's first speech. And Zophar the Naamathite answered and said, Should not many words be answered? Or must the garrulous man necessarily be right? Shall your babblings keep others silent? And shall you deride and no one give rebuke? Shall you say, My teaching is pure, and I am clean in your sight? But oh, that God would speak and open his lips against you, and tell you the secrets of wisdom, for good sense has two sides. So you might learn that God overlooks some of your sinfulness. Can you find out the depths of God, or find out the perfection of the Almighty? It is higher than the heavens. What can you do? It is deeper than Sheol. What can you know? It is longer than the earth in measure, and broader than the sea. If he should seize and imprison, or call to judgment, who then could turn him back? For he knows the worthless and sees iniquity. Will he then ignore it? An empty head will gain understanding when a colt of a wild jackass is born human. If you set your heart aright and stretch out your hands towards him, if iniquity is in your hand, remove it, and do not let injustice dwell in your tent. Surely then you may lift up your face in innocence, you may stand firm and unafraid, for then you shall forget your misery like water that has ebbed away, you shall regard it. Then your life shall be brighter than the noonday, its gloom shall become like the morning. And you shall be secure because there is hope, and you shall look round you and lie down in safety. You shall lie down, and no one will disturb you. Many shall entreat your favor, but the wicked looking on shall be consumed with envy. Escape shall be cut off from them, their only hope, their last breath. Job chapter 12. Job's third reply. Then Job answered and said, No doubt you are the people with whom wisdom shall die, but I have intelligence as well as you. I do not fall short of you. For who does not know such things as these? I have become the sport of my neighbors, the one whom God answers when he calls upon him. The just, the perfect man is a laughing stock. The undisturbed esteem my downfall a disgrace, such as awaits unsteady feet. Yet the tents of robbers are prosperous, and those who provoke God are secure, whom God has in his power. But now ask the beasts to teach you, the birds of the air to tell you, or speak to the earth to instruct you, and the fish of the sea to inform you. Which of all these does not know that the hand of God has done this? In his hand is the soul of every living thing, and the life breath of all mortal flesh. Does not the ear judge words, as the mouth tastes food? So with old age is wisdom, and with length of days understanding. With him are wisdom and might, his are counsel and understanding. If he knocks a thing down, there is no rebuilding. If he imprisons, there is no release. He holds back the waters, and there is drought. He sends them forth, and they overwhelm the land. With him are strength and prudence. The misled and the misleaders are his. He sends counselors away barefoot, makes fools of judges. He loosens the belt of kings, ties a waistcloth on their loins. He sends priests away barefoot, leads the powerful astray. He silences the trusted adviser, takes discretion from the elders. He pours shame on nobles, the waistband of the strong he loosens. He uncovers deep things from the darkness, brings the gloom into the light. He makes nations great and destroys them, spreads peoples abroad and abandons them. He takes understanding from the leaders of the land, makes them wander in a pathless desert. They grope in the darkness without light. He makes them wander like drunkards. Job chapter 13. All this my eye has seen, my ear has perceived it. What you know, I also know. I do not fall short of you, but I would speak with the Almighty. I want to argue with God, but you gloss over falsehoods. You are worthless physicians, every one of you. Oh, that you would be altogether silent, that for you would be wisdom. Hear now my argument, and listen to the accusations from my lips. Is it for God that you speak falsehood? Is it for him that you utter deceit? Is it for him that you show partiality? Do you make accusations on behalf of God? Will it be well when he shall search you out? Can you deceive him as you do a mere human being? He will openly rebuke you. If in secret you show partiality, surely his majesty will frighten you, and dread of him will fall upon you. Your reminders are ashy maxims, your fabrications mounds of clay. Be silent, let me alone that I may speak. No matter what happens to me, I will carry my flesh between my teeth and take my life in my hand. Slay me though he might, I will wait for him. I will defend my conduct before him. This shall be my salvation. No impious man can come into his presence. Pay close attention to my speech. Give my statement a hearing. Behold, I have prepared my case. I know that I am in the right. If anyone can make a case against me, then I shall be silent and expire. Two things only do not use against me. Then from your presence I need not hide. Withdraw your hand far from me. Do not let the terror of you frighten me. Then call me and I will respond, or let me speak first and answer me. What are my faults and my sins? My misdeed, my sin make known to me. Why do you hide your face and consider me your enemy? Will you harass a wind driven leaf or pursue a withered straw? For you draw up bitter indictments against me and punish in me the faults of my youth. You put my feet in the stocks, you watch all my paths and trace out all my footsteps. Though I wear out like a leather bottle, like a garment the moth has consumed. Job chapter 14. Man born of woman is short lived and full of trouble, like a flower that springs up and fades, swift as a shadow that does not abide. Upon such a one will you set your eyes, bringing me into judgment before you. Can anyone make the unclean clean? No one can. Since his days are determined, you know the number of his months. You have fixed the limit which he cannot pass. Look away from him and let him be. While like a hireling he completes his day, for a tree there is hope. If it is cut down, it will sprout again. Its tender shoots will not cease. Even though its root grow old in the earth and its stump die in the dust, yet at the first whiff of water it sprouts and puts forth branches like a young plant. But when a man dies, all his vigor leaves him. When a mortal expires, where then is he? And when the waters of a lake fail or a stream shrivels and dries up, so mortals lie down never to rise. Until the heavens are no more, they shall not awake nor be roused out of their sleep. Oh, that you would hide me in Sheol, shelter me till your wrath is past. Fix a time to remember me. If a man were to die and live again, all the days of my drudgery I would wait for my relief to come. You would call and I would answer you. You would long for the work of your hands. Surely then you would count my steps and not keep watch for sin in me. My misdeeds would be sealed up in a pouch and you would cover my guilt. Mountains fall and crumble, rocks move from their place, and water wears away stone and floods wash away the soil of the land. So you destroy the hope of mortals. You prevail once for all against them and they pass on. You dismiss them with changed appearance. If their children are honored, they are not aware of it, or if disgraced, they do not know about them. Only for themselves they are pain, only for themselves they are mourning. Job chapter 15. Then Eliphaz the Temanite answered and said, Does a wise man answer with windy opinions, or puff himself up with the east wind? Does he argue in speech that does not avail, and in words that are to no profit? You in fact do away with piety, you lessen devotion toward God, because your wickedness instructs your mouth, and you choose to speak like the crafty. Your own mouth condemns you, not I. Your own lips refute you. Were you the first to be born? Were you brought forth before the hills? Do you listen in on God's counsel and restrict wisdom to yourself? We do not know, or understand that we do not. There are grey haired old men among us, more advanced in years than your father. Are the consolations of God not enough for you, and speech that deals gently with you? Why does your heart carry you away, and why do your eyes flash, so that you turn your anger against God, and let such words escape your mouth? How can any mortal be blameless, anyone born of a woman be righteous, if in his holy ones God places no confidence, and if the heavens are not without blame in his sight? How much less so is the abominable and corrupt people who drink in iniquity like water? I will show you if you listen to me what I have seen, I will tell. What the wise relate and have not contradicted since the days of their ancestors, to whom alone the land was given when no foreigner moved among them. The wicked is in torment all his days, and limited years are in store for the ruthless. The sound of terrors is in his ears when all is prosperous a spoiler comes upon him. He despairs of escaping the darkness and looks ever for the sword. A wanderer, food for vultures, he knows destruction is imminent. A day of darkness fills him with dread, distress and anguish overpower him like a king expecting an attack. Because he has stretched out his hand against God and arrogantly challenged the Almighty, rushing defiantly against him with the stout bosses of his shields. Although he has covered his face with his crassness, padded his loins with blubber, he shall dwell in ruined cities, in houses that are deserted, crumbling into rubble. He shall not be rich, his possessions shall not endure, his property shall not spread over the land. A flame shall sear his early growth, and with the wind his blossoms shall disappear. Let him not trust in his height, misled even though his height be like the palm tree, he shall wither before his time, his branches no longer green. He shall be like a vine that sheds its grapes unripened, like an olive tree casting off its blossom, for the breed of the impious shall be sterile, and fire shall consume the tent of extortioners. They conceive malice, bring forth deceit, give birth to fraud. Job chapter 16. Job's fourth reply. Then Job answered and said, I have heard this sort of thing many times. Troublesome comforters, all of you. Is there no end to windy words? What sickness makes you rattle on? I could also talk as you do. Were you in my place, I could declaim over you, or wag my head at you. I could strengthen you with talk, with mere chatter give relief. If I speak, my pain is not relieved. If I stop speaking, nothing changes. But now he has exhausted me. You have stunned all my companions. You have shriveled me up. It is a witness. My gauntness rises up to testify against me. His wrath tears and assails me. He gnashes his teeth against me. My enemy looks daggers at me. They gape at me with their mouths. They strike me on the cheek with insults. They are all enlisted against me. God has given me over to the impious. Into the hands of the wicked he has cast me. I was in peace, but he dislodged me, seized me by the neck, dashed me to pieces. He has set me up for a target. His arrows strike me from all directions. He pierces my sides without mercy, pours out my gall upon the ground. He pierces me, thrust upon thrust, rushes at me like a warrior. I have sewn sackcloth on my skin, laid my horn low in the dust. My face is inflamed with weeping, darkness covers my eyes. Although my hands are free from violence and my prayer sincere, O earth, do not cover my blood, nor let my outcry come to rest. Even now my witness is in heaven, my advocate is on high. My friends it is who wrong me before God, my eyes shed tears, that justice may be done for a mortal with God, as for a man with his neighbor, for my years are numbered, and I go the road of no return. Job chapter 17. My spirit is broken, my days finished, my burial is at hand. Surely mockers surround me, at their provocation my eyes grow dim. Put up a pledge for me with you, who is there to give surety for me? You darken their minds to knowledge, therefore you will not exalt them. For a share of property he informs on friends, while the eyes of his children grow dim. I am made a byword of the people, I am one at whom people spit. My eyes are blind with anguish, and my whole frame is like a shadow. The upright are astonished at this, the innocent are roused against the wicked. The righteous holds to his way, the one with clean hands increases in strength. But turn now and come on again. I do not find a wise man among you. My days pass by, my plans are at an end, the yearning of my heart. They would change the night into day, where there is darkness they talk of approaching light. If my only hope is dwelling in Sheol and spreading my couch in darkness, if I am to say to the pit, you are my father, and to the worm, my mother, my sister, where then is my hope, my happiness, who can see it? Will they descend with me into Sheol? Shall we go down together into the dust? Job chapter 18. Bildad's second speech. Then Bildad the Shuhite answered and said, when will you put an end to words? Reflect, and then we can have discussion. Why are we accounted like beasts, equal to them in your sight? You who tear yourself in your anger, shall the earth be neglected on your account, or the rock be moved out of its place? Truly the light of the wicked is extinguished, the flame of his fire casts no light. In his tent light is darkness. The lamp above him goes out. His vigorous steps are hemmed in. His own counsel casts him down. A net catches him by the feet. He wanders into a pitfall. A trap seizes him by the heel. A snare lays hold of him. A noose is hidden for him on the ground. A netting for him on the path. On every side terrors frighten him. They harry him at each step. His strength is famished. Disaster is ready at his side. His skin is eaten to the limbs. The firstborn of death eats his limbs. He is plucked from the security of his tent and marched off to the kings of terrors. Fire lodges in his tent, over his abode brimstone is scattered. Below his roots dry up, and above his branches wither. His memory perishes from the earth, and he has no name in the countryside. He is driven from light into darkness and banished from the world. He has neither offshoot no offspring among his people, no survivor where once he dwelt. Those who come after him shall be appalled at his fate. Those who went before are seized with horror. So it is then with the dwelling of the impious. Such is the place of the one who does not know God. Job chapter 19. Job's fifth reply. Then Job answered and said, how long will you afflict my spirit, grind me down with words? These 10 times you have humiliated me, have assailed me without shame. Even if it were true that I am at fault, my fault would remain with me. If truly you exalt yourself at my expense and use my shame as an argument against me, know then that it is God who has dealt unfairly with me and compassed me round with his net. If I cry out violence, I am not answered. I shout for help, but there is no justice. He was barred, he has barred my way, and I cannot pass, veiled my path in darkness. He has stripped me of my glory, taken the diadem from my brow. He breaks me down on every side, and I am gone. He has uprooted my hope like a tree. He has kindled his wrath against me. He counts me one of his enemies. His troops advance as one. They build up their road to attack me and camp around my tent. My family has withdrawn from me. My friends are wholly estranged. My relatives and companions neglect me. My guests have forgotten me. Even my maidservants consider me a stranger. I am a foreigner in their sight. I call my servant, but he gives no answer. Though I plead aloud with him, my breath is abhorrent to my wife. I am loathsome to my very children. Even young children despise me. When I appear, they speak against me. All my intimate friends hold me in horror. Those whom I loved have turned against me. My bones cling to my skin, and I have escaped by the skin of my teeth. Pity me, you my friends, for the hand of God has struck me. Why do you pursue me like God and prey insatiably upon me? Oh, would that my words were written down, would that they were inscribed in a record, that with an iron chisel and with lead they were cut in the rock forever. As for me, I know that my vindicator lives, and that he will at last stand forth upon the dust. This will happen when my skin has been stripped off, and from my flesh I will see God. I will see for myself. My own eyes, not another's, will behold him. My inmost being is consumed with longing. But you who say, how shall we persecute him? Seeing that the root of the matter is found in him. Be afraid of the sword for yourselves, for your anger is a crime deserving the sword, that you may know that there is judgment. Job chapter 20. Zophar's second speech. Then Zophar the Naamathite answered and said, so now my thoughts provide an answer for me, because of the feelings within me. A rebuke that puts me to shame I hear, and from my understanding a spirit gives me a reply. Do you not know this from of old, since human beings were placed upon the earth? The triumph of the wicked is short, and the joy of the impious but for a moment. Though his proud mount up to the heavens and his head reach to the clouds, yet he perishes forever like the dung he uses for fuel. And onlookers say, where is he? Like a dream he takes flight and cannot be found. He fades away like a vision of the night. The eye which saw him does so no more, nor shall his dwelling again behold him. His sons will restore to the poor, and his hands will yield up his riches. Though his bones are full of youthful vigor, it shall lie with him in the dust. Though wickedness is sweet in his mouth, and he hides it under his tongue, though he retains it and will not let it go, but keeps it still within his mouth, yet in his stomach the food shall turn. It shall be venom of asps inside him. The riches he swallowed he shall vomit up. God shall make his belly disgorge them. The poison of asps he shall drink in. The viper's fangs shall slay him. He shall see no streams of oil, no torrents of honey or milk. He shall give back his gains never used, like his profit from trade never enjoyed, because he has oppressed and neglected the poor, and stolen a house he did not build. For he has known no quiet in his greed. In his treasure he cannot save himself. None of his survivors will consume it. Therefore his prosperity shall not endure. When he has more than enough, distress shall be his. Every sort of trouble shall come upon him. When he has filled his belly, God shall send against him the fury of his wrath, and rain down his missiles upon him. Should he escape an iron weapon, a bronze bow shall pierce him through. The dart shall come out of his back, a shining point out of his gall bladder. Terrors fall upon him. Complete darkness is in store for his treasured ones. A fire unfanned shall consume him. Any survivor in his tent shall be destroyed. The heavens shall reveal his guilt, and the earth rise up against him. The flood shall sweep away his house, torrents in the day of God's anger. This is the portion of the wicked, the heritage appointed him by God. Job chapter 21. Job's sixth reply. Then Job answered and said, at least listen to my words, and let that be the consolation you offer. Bear with me while I speak, and after I have spoken, you can mock. Is my complaint toward any human being? Why should I not be impatient? Look at me and be appalled. Put your hands over your mouths. When I think of it, I am dismayed, and shuddering seizes my flesh. Why do the wicked keep on giving, grow old, become mighty in power? Their progeny is secure in their sight, their offspring are before their eyes. Their homes are safe without fear, and the rod of God is not upon them. Their bulls breed without fail, their cows calve and do not miscarry. They let their young run free like sheep, their children skip about. They sing along with drum and lyre and make merry to the sound of the pipe. They live out their days in prosperity and tranquilly go down to Sheol. Yet they say to God, depart from us, for we have no desire to know your ways. What is the Almighty that we should serve him? And what do we gain by praying to him? Their happiness is not in their own hands. The designs of the wicked are far from me. How often is the lamp of the wicked put out? How often does destruction come upon them? The portion God allots in his anger. Let them be like straw before the wind, like chaff the storm carries away. God is storing up the man's misery for his children. Let him requite the man himself so that he knows it. Let his own eyes behold his calamity, and the wrath of the Almighty let him drink. For what interest has he in his family after him, when the number of his months is finished? Can anyone teach God knowledge, seeing that he judges those on high? One dies in his full vigor, wholly at ease and content. His figure is full and nourished, his bones are moist with marrow. Another dies with a bitter spirit, never having tasted happiness. Alike they lie down in the dust, and worms cover them both. See, I know your thoughts and the arguments you plot against me. For you say, where is the house of the great, and where the dwelling place of the wicked? Have you not asked the wayfarers, and do you not acknowledge the witness they give? On the day of calamity, the evil man is spared. On the day that wrath is released, who will charge him to his face about his conduct? And for what he has done, who will repay him? He is carried to the grave, and at his tomb they keep watch. Sweet to him are the clods of the valley, all humankind will follow after him, and countless others before him. How empty the consolation you offer me! Your arguments remain a fraud. Job chapter 22. Eliphaz's third speech. Then Eliphaz the Temanite answered and said, Can a man be profitable to God? Can a wise man be profitable to him? Does it please the Almighty that you are just? Does he gain if your ways are perfect? Is it because of your piety that he reproves you, that he enters into judgment with you? Is not your wickedness great, your iniquity endless? You keep your relatives' goods in pledge unjustly, leave them stripped naked of their clothing. To the thirsty, you give no water to drink, and from the hungry you withhold bread, as if the land belonged to the powerful and only the privileged could dwell in it. You sent widows away empty handed, and the resources of orphans are destroyed. Therefore, snares are round about you, sudden terror makes you panic, or darkness you cannot see, a deluge of water covers you. Does not God in the heights of the heavens behold the top of the stars, high though they are? Yet you say, what does God know? Can he judge through the thick darkness? Clouds hide him so that he cannot see, as he walks around the circuit of the heavens. Do you indeed keep to the ancient way, trodden by the worthless? They were snatched before their time, their foundations a river swept away. They said to God, Let us alone, and what can the Almighty do to us? Yet he had filled their houses with good things. The designs of the wicked are far from me. The just look on and are glad, and the innocent deride them. Truly our enemies are destroyed, and what was left to them fire has consumed. Settle with them and have peace. That way good shall come to you. Receive instruction from his mouth, and place his words in your heart. If you return to the Almighty, you will be restored. If you put iniquity far from your tent, and treat raw gold as dust, the fine gold of Ophir as pebbles in the wadi, then the Almighty Himself shall be your gold and your sparkling silver. For then you shall delight in the Almighty, you shall lift up your face toward God. Entreat Him, and He will hear you, and your vows you shall fulfill. What you decide shall succeed for you, and upon your ways light shall shine. For when they are brought low, you will say it is pride, but downcast eyes He saves. He will deliver whoever is innocent. You shall be delivered if your hands are clean. The word of the Lord. Thanks be to God.